And this is chapter 23, We Always Wear Underwear. That's the chapter title. And also good advice. Good advice that I took today. Chapter 23, We Always Wear Underwear. It wouldn't be a good book talk if I didn't mention my underwear. For those of you who have never gotten lost in the Amazon rainforest, you should know a few things. First, it is boring. One thick patch of green looks like the next, on and on for thousands of miles. It is very easy to become lost. It is even easier to become bored. Second, it is dark. The darkness is not like night, but like an endless twilight, sticky and green and dim. Massive trees fight for sunlight up above, filling every bit of air and making a dense canopy of leaves over the forest floor. Vines and plants hang from tree to tree like buttresses of a medieval church, and very little light can make it through. On the ground, little appears to move. But for those who look closely, the entire forest is moving. Millions of bugs crawl on the ground and in the trees. Plants strangle each other in a battle for sunlight. Birds and animals scurry from place to place to find food or some dark tangle of tree roots in which to hide from predators like pythons and jaguars, and deadliest of all, man. Of course, Oliver and Celia were not watching closely and saw none of this. They were tired and they were bored. The Amazon rainforest was dull, dull, dull. Corey Brant, teen heartthrob and star of the Celebrity Adventurist, was loving it. He raced from tree to tree. He held his little camera in front of himself and spoke dramatically into it. I'm here in the Amazon at last, walking in the footsteps of doomed explorer Percy Fawcett and the daring President Teddy Roosevelt. The distant cry of the monkey shatters the great quiet of this emerald world. What is in store for us? Only nature knows for sure. Oliver looked at his sister. Didn't we see a movie about Percy Fawcett? Yeah, she answered glumly. He vanished without a trace. I got eaten. Oliver groaned. 6th grade looked a lot more appealing now. Corey still continued talking into the camera. We can give ourselves an advantage by masking our smells from predators. Watch. He set the camera down on some fallen leaves and dove onto the damp ground, rolling around in the dirt. What are you doing? Celia cried. The teen star stood. He was filthy. I'm masking my scent like a hunter. Animals attract by smell like, well, no, I'm here. Oh, said Celia, still not sure she understood why he would want to cover himself with mud. Sometimes celebrities did things that made absolutely no sense. Sometimes so did teenagers. Corey, Oliver asked, I know you're the survival expert and all, but, well, now you've covered yourself in fire ants. Corey Grant looked down and saw that indeed, he was crawling with hundreds of agitated fire ants. They were running up his legs and his torso, crawling toward his neck. He looked at his camera on the ground, still pointing up at him, filming. Eep! He squealed before turning on his heels and running toward the river as fast as his legs would carry him. A trail of ants followed on the ground. Don't jump in the water, that'll make them fight, Oliver yelled as Corey ran. The twins gave chase. They caught up with the panicked TV star at the water's edge. He was frozen and still swarming with ants. They hadn't bitten him yet. He didn't move. What are you doing? Oliver panted. I can't decide which is worse, Corey stared at the brown water of the river. The ants or the piranha? What do I do? You faced this before, Oliver said. Remember? In the first season of Agent Zero, you were taken prisoner by the Assassin's Guild and tied to a stake in the deserts of Kazakhstan? They smeared you with honey and sent the ants after you. Oh, right, that was a while ago. Could you remind me what I did to escape? You took your clothes off, Celia answered. Oliver looked sideways at her. What? He did! I remember that episode. You have to flick the ants off, Oliver said. And yeah, get out of your clothes and get away from them. Once you start flicking, the ants are going to get mad and bite, so you've got to move fast. I'm really glad you guys are fans. Corey took a deep breath. And I'm glad I wore clean underwear. Oliver and Celia stepped back. They didn't want the ants to turn on them. Fire ants could bite you a dozen times in a few seconds. Ah! Corey screamed and he started flicking the ants and tearing off his shirt and trousers. The ants started biting. Ow! He yelled. Ow! 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 Now run! Oliver called. Stripped down to his boxer shorts, Corey Brandt ran screaming into the jungle. Oliver and Celia looked at each other, sighed, and gave chase. Slow down, Oliver called. You don't need to run that far. Corey Brandt wasn't stopping for anything. One bite from a fire ant was enough for him for a lifetime. They caught up to him back where he left his camera. He was standing in his boxer shorts, filthy, watching the playback on the tiny screen. You know, with the right editing, this could be pretty sweet, he said, as the twins were catching their breath. Oliver set their backpack down and rested his head between his knees. He was not a fan of all this running. Sorry I lost my cool there, Corey said. You guys were great. I'm really glad you paid such close attention to my shows. I'd be in real trouble out here without you. Yeah, Corey, Celia said, trying to catch her breath. Yeah, he looked at her. You probably don't want to stand on the same anthill again. Corey looked down and saw that he'd gone right back to the spot he'd rolled in before. And once again, fire ants were racing up his legs. Ah! He yelled and bolted back toward the river, holding the camera this time. He didn't stop at the water's edge when he got there. He didn't care about piranha. He just jumped in.